Right. And it's been 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks that they've even seen her. And all of a sudden they're just going to come out with, you're not dependable and you're worthless. Yeah, I don't think so.
Correct. So they're not just going to yell that out and say that with her just coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could I see them saying that she's not dependable? Absolutely. Absolutely at this point. You're 3 weeks without work. You've not been back. You've not said anything. And if you've not taken the proper steps to reporting your being out of work, then I can see why they could say you're not dependable because you've not been there, right? Okay, then another one. The next one says, the manager and assistant manager informed her of her termination and cited her absence due to her COVID-19 related disabilities as a basis for her termination.
And I don't believe that either. I don't think they'd say, we're firing you because you had COVID.
Yeah, they can't, like, literally, because back, if you guys remember when the pandemic actually first started, your job was secured regardless.
Right.
Due to the pandemic. Like if you got COVID, then you automatically, they gave paid days and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at that point, I just said to myself and I'm like, okay, let's keep going. Let's just keep reading to see what this exactly says. So for Jen, we know how worse that gets. Okay. Let's carry on to after that. Defendants knew that it was unlawful to fire Martin because she was disabled.
Bull. Now remember, guys, this is Jen's attorney's filing here. So this is her attorney's look, and she's the one that is making all these statements on behalf of Jen. Just again to make that clear. So yeah, they read that again. Oh, defendants knew that it was unlawful to fire Martin because she was disabled.
Correct.
To me, that is that
is poor.
No.
Like that is so poor in that sentence alone.
And yeah, and I think it's based on the state too. Like, what was the state of Ohio's stance on COVID and working and all that stuff? I don't know enough about that as to whether or not they had a rule that you could not fire somebody if they, came down with COVID or anything like that. Yes, OG Petty, it is. I see my lawyer is putting a message out right now. She's typing, so I'll get to that.
Yeah, like with that, it's not unlawful for them to fire her because she's not been active. Yes, I could see them holding her job for 2 weeks just so she can recuperate from COVID. But we're almost week 4 here. So, and she tested negative. So I could see the managers coming together to make a decision to say, hey, we've got to let her go because she's not, I can understand we got the 2 weeks out of the way, but here we are week 4 almost, and she's still not at work.
And, one thing somebody asked in the questions, this was 2022. Okay, so this was 2022. This was 2 years. This was a little over 2 years when COVID first hit the United States hard. So at this point in time, we're looking at, I think we've already had the 3rd booster shot available for COVID, and antivirals were being given out, and people in workplaces at this point I think they could wear masks like any other time, but it was not mandated at this point. if I'm not mistaken, because I want to say that 2022, I think January of 2022, as a teacher, we were allowed to take our masks off now, which was, I remember, wonderful, because we finally got to breathe without having that thing covering our face. And we got to see just how ugly our kids were, because, we hadn't seen their faces all year. I'm kidding about that too. That was a joke. So let me read to you what my lawyer said. That's what she's alleging on count 4. Okay, let me go back to count 4 here so I can. I'll have to find what that is, but it says that's what she's alleging on count 4. I think it was accusing the defendants, which were the manager and assistant manager, of aiding and abetting, that they knew it was illegal. Really hard to prove a mindset unless they wrote it on paper. Okay, I see what she's saying. So yeah, because one of the claims is that they aided and abetted against Jen to fire her. Now, what is the difference between aiding and abetting and the difference between a manager and assistant manager having a meeting and deciding to fire an employee because they're not there? That's a hard one. That's a hard one to say.
Yep.
Go on, girl.
And then it goes on to page 9. I have all my areas highlighted here.
Now, I have some other stuff in between that, but do you want to go on? Why don't you finish all yours and then I'll go through mine? Okay?